LeetCode 20, valid parentheses. Given a string s containing just the characters open and close paren, open and close curly, open and close square, determine if the input string is valid. This is a Boolean method. We need to return true or false. We're going to do this in JavaScript here, as usual, as always. And so how do we determine if it's valid? Well, this description is just about as good as any LeetCode description. Actually, it's not. It's pretty damn bad. It's just broken English, not proofread, just horrible ESL. Wouldn't even pass an ESL review. So, an input string is valid if open brackets must be closed by the same type of brackets. You see, you don't even know what the hell they mean by that. Here's what they want. I'm going to explain it to you in English. For every open bracket, well, for the last character that was open, the next character, if it is another bracket, if it is a closed bracket, must be of the same type of the previous character. And then once that's taken care of, both characters are wiped out. So if we have an open bracket, well, we could have another open bracket, but this time because we have a closed bracket, so that wipes those out. And so now we have an open bracket, and then the next bracket is also a closed bracket, like previously, and it's of the same type, so those are wiped out. And then we have an open bracket again, and we have to get a closed bracket for that or another open bracket. And we get a closed bracket, and so then those are wiped out. So in this case, it's valid. It's true is the correct result. And so in the last input, we see here we have an open bracket parenthesis, and then we have a closed square. And that's not valid, because if we're going to have anything close, then it has to be of the same type. And I should also point out that it's invalid to have something where we have two open. Everything must be closed. All of the brackets must be closed, number one. And number two, the last thing that was open cannot be closed by any other type. It must be closed by the same type. So if it's going to be closed, it has to be of the same type. If it's going to be opening something else, that's okay. This is implemented by using a stack, as I've slightly illustrated by my text highlighting description over here. We start out in JavaScript. We have this outer function, which is immediately invoked, returns the inner function. So now our isValid identifier points to this inner function that's returned from that immediately invoked function. And it also has, in scope, our map, which is private, static, final, and frozen. So that makes things go a little bit faster. We have this initialized only one time. We don't reinitialize our map for every call to this. Now there's a way to do this using classes in JavaScript. We're just using a closure for LeetCode, and that works just fine here. And the other thing I want to do for here is use strict. That's a good idea. All right. Whoops, I got an extra thing there. So now we have our function here, our isValid function, takes the parameter s. We create a stack, which is an array, actually, but we're going to think of it like a stack, because we're going to use push and pop, as you can see. And we loop through every character. We iterate through the characters of s. For each character, we first try to get it from our map. So given the first example, we try to get this open paren from map, and it is there, and the value is the closed paren. So in that case, if we have it, we got something there, we got this closed paren, so we're going to put that on our stack. So now our stack looks like that. Okay, we didn't get the else block. Continue on our loop. C of s. Now our next character is the closed paren. We try to get that from the map. Map has only open characters. So now we're going to pop that, because we don't have that character, we're going to pop that off the stack. We pop it off the stack, and if whatever we popped off the stack is not equal to the character that we're looking for, then we're going to return false. So we pop one off the stack, and that's what our stack has, and it actually matches the same thing that we're looking for. So these two things are the same thing, so we cancel that out. So now we've popped that off the stack, We go to our next character. We have open square, and that's going to be the same thing that we already went through before, and close square, open curly and close curly, same as before. And finally after we're done with all this, we finish this loop, and then we return stack.length equals 0. Well, do we really even need that? Well, in this case, it looks like we could get away with not having that there. We could just return true. However, we have to think about another case where we would have just open, right? Any two types of opens, or just one open would be fine as well. In this case, we'd try to get it from the map. We'd find it. We'd put that onto the stack. The stack would then have one close, and we'd go through our next character, and we would get that from the stack, or from our map, and we would get another close, and we would put that on there. We would complete our loop, and then we have to return that the stack's length is 0. In this case, the stack's length is 2, and so in that case, we would return false, and that's the correct response for when we don't have balanced brackets. And in this case, we have unbalanced brackets. That's how to solve this problem in JavaScript. So we can put the submit button and see how that works. And we got fairly good performance out of it, and the memory is just okay as compared to a previous submission I did a while back, and where I got 100% memory. And as you can see, people on LeetCode are getting better. I was beating everybody before with pretty much the same solution, but not in strict mode. Now I'm in strict mode, which shouldn't hinder performance at all. And my result is 61.90%, much lower. All right, guys, thanks for watching.